Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans. Bola from Fiji. And welcome from citizens, or to citizens all over the world. Now, this is a shout out to Marlena, who correctly observed that I've been talking about this for months. Ramaphosa's big lie about doubling tourism by 2030. And guess what? The DA have just cottoned onto this. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Tourism has been left red-faced after the DA's spokesperson on tourism, also a member of the said committee, accused President Cyril Ramaphosa of setting unrealistic targets and living in a different reality to the rest of the country. In the President's State of the Nation address in 2019, he set a target of 21 million tourists over the next decade. Referring to a presentation made to the Portfolio Committee on Tuesday, however, DA spokesperson on tourism, Manny de Freitas, said in a statement issued via the DA that the South African Tourism, or SAT, that said the President substantially missed a realistic target, arguing that 16.5 million tourists by 2030 was doable. That's 4.5 million or less. South African Tourism is the official national marketing agency of the South African government. De Freitas said, like most of his, Ramaphosa's promises, this was a pipe dream. And I couldn't agree more. Ramaphosa talks with a forked tongue. He knows it's not going to happen, but he makes these blind promises and suggestions and, the road ahead, and they're all a load of BS, and he knows it. But anyway, the reality is that the President Ramaphosa cannot expect South Africa to welcome high numbers of tourists to our shores when our economy is floundering, crime is on the rise, and our aviation industry is being held to ransom by industrial action on the part of the unions. De Freitas is also a member of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Tourism, but the rest of the committee distanced themselves from his comments, saving the statement represented his, De Freitas' view and not the views of the collective of the Portfolio Committee of Tourism. Well, I know it's going to be right, and they'll be flat out hitting 16.5 million in 2030, believe me. It'll probably be close to about a million, and they'll be the people who love extreme sports. No one else. South Africa will be that dangerous in 10 years' time. Anyway, the committee received the presentation and interacted fully with the South African Tourism and Marketing Council on Tuesday, and it was assured that it, the South African Tourism and Marketing Council, already has a plan on how to achieve the 21 million target by 2030, as announced during the State of the Nation address by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The committee said in a statement, good luck to them. It was satisfied with government's plan to achieve its tourism target, it added. Of course, this is a bunch of ANC cadres. They will just say anything. As a collective of the committee, we are satisfied with the responses and plan developed by the South African Tourism Board and the Department of National Tourism to work towards the target, and have therefore recommended that they work with other tourism agencies and government departments for collaboration and coordination of programs for both the international and domestic markets. Well, I find it very interesting that here in Fiji, I'm seeing on TV networks like CNN and BBC, come to South Africa, we need you. And I forgot their slogan. It's so ineffective and so ineffectual. But it's basically something like, see something different. Yeah, like your partner getting raped, or like being mugged in the street, or being carjacked, or being stabbed when you're going for a walk in those beautiful Cape Hills. That they don't explain the issues of crime at all anywhere in these ads. It just makes out as if South Africa is like it was back in the 1980s. What a load of BS. Anyway, getting on to the story. The committee acknowledged that tourism faced serious hurdles, however. Crime is a serious challenge affecting all South Africans, and it cannot be used for narrow political ends, which, as a committee, we will not support and entertain. Well, guess what? These guys are so blinkered. They don't understand the rest of the world. Before they decide to come to South Africa, they go and they check things out. And they come to YouTube and they see channels like mine and they see what's actually going on in South Africa and not in these glowing ads that South African tourism puts out. And they say, oh shit, we're not going there. Now, that's the issue, because we speak the truth about the crime in South Africa. They cover it up. And that's why a lot of people are now looking for alternative destinations. Tourism, this is what they said. This is the same tourism committee. Tourism is not just about targets, but about the improvement of the lives of South Africans in general, and Africans in particular. It is about growing the economy in particular to deal with the challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. South African tourism also distanced itself from the DA's comments. Now, I have to tell you that it is quite extraordinary. The complete dream world that the South African Tourism Committee is living in, because one tourist has to be murdered. One French tourist has to be murdered, like there were the other day in the Cape. Some people from the Netherlands were murdered in the Gauteng area a couple of weeks ago. This is news back in their homes, and guess what? It starts pointing the finger at the crime level in South Africa. And the more tourists are targeted by these gangs who... There was an English fellow who left Oliver Tambo Airport just last week. He had a car and he drove into the hotel in Johannesburg to go and book in, and he got robbed at the entrance to the hotel. They took 100,000 rand off him. Made big news. These stories are getting out, and they are not good for South Africa. And it's because crime is out of control, and the gangs are now starting to target soft targets, which are tourists coming into the country who have no idea what they're coming into, because all those glowing ads about South Africa make it look like it's an absolute Eden. It's not. It's a hornet's nest, and people need to wake up to that fact. South Africa is a hornet's nest, and if you want to get stung, just take your bum out in the streets of Johannesburg with a camera on your shoulder, and believe me, within 5 minutes you'll be feeling very, very sorry for yourself. It's that darn bad. Just earlier this week, we had a situation where one of the major malls in Johannesburg, a jeweler store, was held up by two guys firing AK-47s. And I've got that video in the Lovely Life 2019 channel. I put it up yesterday. It's there. You can go and have a look. You know, this is the reality of South Africa. It's a gangster state. It is not a Garden of Eden. It's not this wonderful world that it was back in the 1980s. As I've said already once in this video, you come to South Africa, it's extreme sports. You watch your back the whole time, and you don't bring children here. Because you know what they do with kids in South Africa? If they grab one of your kids, they use them for mootie. Yep. They haven't done it to a tourist kid yet, but can you imagine if you'd come from, let's say, the UK with 3 little kids, and you were traveling around KwaZulu-Natal, and you pulled up at a traffic light, and the door was unlocked, and one of your kids is nabbed and taken, never to be seen again. This is the reality of South Africa. It is not a safe place. Get that into your head. It is not a safe place, despite all these glowing ads about come to South Africa and experience something different. As I said, that something different might not excite you. In fact, it might detrimentally change you and your family's life. All right, I've had a bit of a rant. I'm sorry about that, guys, but I feel very strongly about this because tourism could be so much better in South Africa. But unless you deal with the core issues, and the number one is, the two big ones are crime and corruption, you're not going to resolve it. And this ANC government, it's too big a challenge for them. They don't know where to start. They're completely lost. Anyway, guys, look, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, Stay safe. Bye from Fiji.